That's correct, Wendy. We all wear masks, metaphorically speaking.
Stanley Ipkiss is an alcoholic. Yes, you heard correctly. Stanley is an alcoholic. You might say that I'm talking crazy because there is nothing like that in this beautiful comedy movie, but what if I could prove to you that the mask is a metaphor for alcohol addiction, and a damn logical metaphor? And once you see that parallel, you won't be able to stop thinking about it next time you decide to watch this wonderful movie starring Jim Carrey. But first things first.
Why? Because I gotta!
At the beginning of the film, we see a nice guy with a good job at the bank, living in a decent apartment. But as Stanley described his situation, good guys always come last. What can I say? The protagonist of the movie is a total loser. He can't stand up for himself. He's stuck in his boring life routine, and after work he watches cartoons with his dog Milo. Stanley lacks the courage to create a different life for himself, and this precise situation is what makes the young man take up the bottle. Stanley was dumped at the car rental point, then the bouncers threw him in a puddle the minute he showed up at the popular nightclub. The ugly rental car stalled and fell apart on the way home, and most importantly, he met a girl that he would never have the courage to ask out. It was a terrible failure. He comes home and takes a magical elixir, puts on a mask that symbolizes alcohol intoxication. In short, he gets drunk. And right after that, everything in a moment becomes colorful and fun. He is confident and knows for sure that tonight he is invincible. Having gained courage, Stanley goes to a fight in the garage to get revenge on the bullies. In the morning, our hero gets a full set of hangover signs. His head aches, his body aches, and yesterday's events seemed like a vague dream. Stan is late for work.
I'm sorry, Mr. Dickey. It'll never happen again. I've been a jerk.
And in the evening, he can't stop thinking about the girl he met. He'll never have the courage to ask her out, unless he can have a shot of something strong, and that's how he gets his courage up. And then he pouted, dressed up, and tonight he's irresistible. Nightclub, dancing and fun, and in the morning the hangover is even worse than before. He woke up with a bottle in his hand. He's an hour late for work, sloppy look, booze, a sign that Stanley's developing an alcohol addiction. Alcohol begins to affect social life, and Stanley yells at his boss.
Back off, monkey boy!
And you know, it's not hard to start drinking when there is a liquor store on the first floor of your house, and it's delivered. Like many others, Stanley met the mask, with alcohol, in his student years.
We're old college buddies, him and me.
He then realizes the complexity of the situation and decides to seek help, and goes to a doctor who specializes in masks. The doctor suggests that Stanley be placed in a drunk tank. Stanley decided to set a meeting with Tina, but without daring to confess his feelings, he again decides to put on a bravery mask. Trying to deal with Tina's ex-boyfriend Dorian, Stan jumps behind the bar. And then comes out irresistible, invulnerable, and determined. Alcohol can be a fun thing. Sometimes it can relax and put away all the problems for a while, but do not forget how dangerous this thing can be. At the end, Stanley decides to stop drinking. He confessed his feelings to Tina, and now he has the courage to fortitude to solve problems without alcohol. In the film, we see people wearing a mask, taking alcohol before a party. And this mask reveals our true desires and affects everyone in a completely different ways. Some people are fooling around, some people are dancing, and some people are going through a lot. And of course, remember yourself a drunk. I'm sure each of you smiled at yourself in the mirror with a sense of your own irresistibility. I don't want to grasp the conventions and explain why no one recognizes Stanley in a mask. It's a metaphor. The whole film is an allegory. That's what the doctor says.
My book is about masks as a metaphor, Mr. Ipkiss. A metaphor.
It's a theory I heard repeatedly as a child from my grandmother. When someone went through struggled with alcohol, it was a great way to describe what happens to people when they get drunk. Grandma told me alcohol was a mask, the one from the movie. If inside you are a hopeless romantic like Stanley, the mask will reveal and exaggerate those feelings. But if you are uptight and resentful of the world, then you are in trouble. Alcohol is a mask, but somehow I never thought of it in the other way around. The Mask film is about alcohol, and when I came across a little post about it on Reddit, in my head everything was immediately put into place. Why do I remember The Mask when I see drunk people, but I don't remember drunk people when I watch The Mask? Well, now that I understand this, I will never forget it next time I watch this movie. Is there any moral in all this? I don't think so. It's just a theory, but I try to wear my true face as much as possible and wear a mask at parties as rare as possible.